So I will go over a little bit about how to fax the notes from us to a certain provider, and there are a couple of ways you can do that. And also we're gonna show you how to order some MRIs and eFAX it. So first, notice on the top, we have gotten our test patient selected over here, test 1. So we're gonna first go to chart review, which is right here. After we select on chart review, we're gonna select on the visit notes. So for example, in this particular case, I wanna send the last 3 notes to a certain provider. So I'm gonna choose these 3 notes and hit fax right here. After you hit fax, you'll notice that we chose, you can choose who you want to fax it to. So let's choose a couple of different ways. So if you hit 11 or add row right here, you can add a row. So first, let's say if there's a provider that already has a file on there. Let's say it was a referring provider, and let's say the referring provider is actually Dr. Luo. So we type in Luo and hit enter, it'll go through a bunch of things to search for the provider that's already input in our IMS. So unfortunately, this provider over here does not have a fax associated. Notice if I select it, it's actually gonna say enter fax number. Oh well. So I'm gonna just choose our fax number. Conversely, you can add, and it asks you to update the file number to me, so that's great. And conversely, you can add another profile that is already selected. So for example, we can select Hondo. So we can do Medina Regional. Practice name. So there's a couple of Medina Health Clinic. So let's say we select Dr. Robert Hayes. So Dr. Robert Hayes, because he has referred to us before, we already have a fax number on file. So that's one way you can add it. And there's another way you can add. You can actually, I'm gonna unclick it for now, and it's actually trying to prepare this big fax file. So I'm gonna actually select another way. So you can actually just free type. If you know their exact number, you can name it free type, and then you can just say whatever number you want to send. So let's just send it to ourselves. So that's our free type. And then, so I'm out of all 3 options, I'm going to just select the free type one, and notice I have the 3 notes selected. If you want to add something cover page, you can, but I'm just going to fax as this. So after you fax, it's going to, if there's a big files or there's a lot of pages, it will try to prepare for a while, but basically it goes through and combine all the notes into kind of one entity and fax it over. And after the end, it'll show you like kind of a preview, and it's got a bunch of pages, and that looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and send all those notes over. So we'll say continue, and it's gonna say fax is successfully sent to queue for free type. And then now we're gonna close. In this instance, if you click on here, which is fax sent under chart review, you can actually see that I attempted to send a free type fax to this number. However, the status is not sent. It's going to go from not sent to in queue to sent. So in a little bit, when we check back, you'll see that Dr. Luo has been sent that back. And you can preview by double clicking what you have sent exactly. So this is why I really prefer eSend, because it's a lot easier to track if the person did it or not. So if you did it, it's already eSend. The receipts are right here, so you can check it. Now, what about an order? So if you wanted to send a diagnostic order, you can send it a couple of ways. One way is if you send it out of chart, so which is not included in the note. What I recommend is that if the patient's coming in for a visit, you're actually ordering the labs or the imaging orders as part of the set. I would go ahead and just include in the note. I prefer that because that way on the note it shows that we try to send a note. So if somebody wants to read the note, they can say, oh, hey, look, so and so actually try to send an order. So let's go ahead and just try to send an MRI to an imaging center. So once you click on diagnostic lab and orders, you'll have a window. Mine's default set it to MRI because that's the most commonly ordered, but you can actually also choose lab order. So that's going to be your CBC, BNP. So for example, I have some pre-op order set and chronic pain order set that you can use. Let's just say we're going to do an MRI, and I listed the most common ones we use. So let's order MRI non-contrast, and the diagnosis code we're going to say lumbar radiculopathy, and then leave the second diagnosis blank. So from here, you notice that the fax is grayed out. So in this system, you actually need to save the order. But before we save the order, we actually need to choose these asterisk question marks are you have to input these. So go ahead and choose where you want to send it to. In this case, you have all these options: American Health, American Dynamic Imaging, Strict. So in this case, I'm actually and you can actually order to the patient without a fax number to print it out. But in this case, we're actually going to send it just to us. So imagine if SA Pain Clinic is a imaging center. So we'll send the order to us. So after that, after we choose that, if you want to add a little code, patient has right leg pain, and then we're going to go ahead and save. And then it's going to prompt you, and you're going to say, yes, the patient doesn't have any of those. And after that, after you save it, notice how the fax number does come up. So in this instance, the SA Pain Clinic already has the fax number inputted. So you can just go ahead and fax it. So if you're the provider, you can actually choose this, and that includes your signature. Obviously, you got to make sure your signature is on file with the system. Majority of us are. If you're not a provider, if you're MA, just make sure that's not checked, or you can. I don't think you can actually check it. So in order to fax it, you have to hit fax here. So it's gonna say, are you sure you want to fax this selected diagnostic order? And you say, yes, I'm sure. I saved it. I want to fax it. I want it gone. So it's going to go through a bunch of instructions and says, please wait while IMS preparing a fax. And then after that, it says it's successfully sent to queue. Great. And then I'm going to go ahead and close this window since we already saved it earlier. And then now look under diagnostic order, as part of the note, we are ordering MRI non-contrast to this clinic, and then the patient has a right leg pain. Well, how do you want to check if you want to see that sent already or not? So again, we can go to that same chart review here. And then from chart review, you'll see, let me see if there's an update. So right now it's not updated yet, but in a little bit, we'll check back. So there's a different way you can actually order it. So in this way, we're gonna try to hit diagnostic lab right here. And then we're gonna order actually it says here, it says ordered for the lab. So this is the MRI. If you wanted to double check to see what the lab is, you can actually see the order right here, this icon. And then you can see the order is over here, MRI non-contrast. And okay, what happens if you want to print out that order? So you can hit view order. Oh, you can actually go back to the note right here. So back to the note, when you, on the right hand side, there's a little option. If you do your scroll, there's an option that says print right here. So print, and after that, if you prefer, some providers prefer the lab orders to be printed out. So you can select the diagnostic order and then add signature, and then you can select the printer from there, whichever you want to print, and then print out from there. All right, and again, let's show you another way of adding the diagnostic lab. So let's say you're not part of the note, you just wanted to add a lab or diagnostic order. So let's click on chart view, diagnostic lab, and then add diagnostic lab order. So from here, I'm actually just going to order a lab order for this patient. I'm gonna order to, let's say LabCorp, and then for LabCorp, I'm gonna save, actually, I'm gonna send it to Quest. So Quest, and then I'm gonna choose my pre-op order set. I'm gonna select all and select the default test. We're gonna save. And then after that, I'm gonna add my personal signature in there, and then we're gonna send a fax order over. And it says, are you sure you wanna send the fax lab order? And I say yes. Okay. So from here, I'll go ahead and it's gonna say, please wait until IMS, and then fax is successfully sent. I'm gonna save it and close it. So in this instance, I ordered this outside of the lab, outside of the node. So if I were to go to the node, it will not show up as part of the node. So again, as part of the node, we just have that lab order from the MRI, the imaging order from the MRI. Again, if it's part of the lab, try to order it in the node for part of the node. That way it's documented. If it's outside of it, it's outside of it. Okay. So let's see what has been sent so far. So we're gonna go to chart review again, and let's choose fax sent. And now you see after refresh, we have a couple of labs. So you can actually see the status of 3 different outcomes. One says not sent, one says in queue, and one says sent. So this was the document that we tried to send and fax, and it's already sent. You can see the receipt by double clicking it. This one is in queue, it's next to go. This was actually, it says lab order, but this was the actual MRI order. And you can see what the MRI order entails. Right now it's pretty short. I did not add a signature to this one. And then lastly, this was the one that we just did to Quest. This one has not been sent yet. And this one is my CBC. And then this one, I did include my signature here. So it has my signature on the bottom, okay? So now you see why I prefer these. In these, you can actually see what time it was sent and priority, if it was sent or not, and what day it was sent. And so you can actually see the receipt. If it was fax, it was fax. If it wasn't fax, it wasn't fax. And I do notice that, disclaimer, I do know that in certain computer, these files actually did not open as PDF files, so open as PFP files. If that happens, let me know. What you can do is you can double click it and you save it in the download file, and you open Microsoft Edge to open these files. And in the future, it will automatically suggest you use Microsoft Edge to open these files, because these are actually PDF files. And I'm not sure why it's recorded as a PFP file, but these are PDF files. We're trying to fix that right now.